Put it in. Let's go. Let's see how I answer it. I want to see how good I am.
You fucked half of the girls in Los Angeles. Is Tana one of them?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah. Have you ever had sex with Tana? Hi guys, I'm Bella Benson. Welcome to another episode of Too Tired to Be Crazy on every Thursday. Today my special guest, a guest I never thought I would ever have in my life. His name is Harry Jowsey. Did I say it right?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, welcome.
I'm so nervous.
You guys know him as Francesca Ferrago's ex-boyfriend, and that's it. I'm kidding. Harry Jowsey, he has a following of over, I think, 7 million followers all over his social media platforms. He's huge on TikTok, on Instagram. He's one of the top creators even on OnlyFans. I mean, he is a superstar, and he's also known from Too Hot to Handle season 1, where he met the love of his life, Francesca Ferrago. And you know the love was real because they even had a lawsuit against each other. So it really worked out.
That was like so sweet until like that point. I was like, wow, she really is nice.
I am.
But I'm worried because I know you're going to be sassy and attack me.
No, actually I'm not. You'll be surprised. So Harry and we actually have never met until recently.
Yes.
We met recently in Mexico.
Yeah. We did meet in Tulum for the first. I was actually nervous because Francesca's like, oh, my friends want to come down. I was like, I'm not meeting any more of your stupid fucking friends. I was like, please keep them all away from me. Because like obviously the breakup was so horrible. And I'm like, I don't even want to have their bad energy around. And then I met you guys and you guys were great.
Yeah. I don't even know why you would think that. I'm literally one of the nicest person I've ever met. Ask all your friends. They all thought it was really nice.
They loved you so much.
So yeah, we met in Tulum. We ended up having so much fun together. It was really nice. Harry is really charming.
Aw. Really? I thought I was so quiet to you guys because I was like nervous.
Aw. No, you're really nice.
Because I'm walking into like an army of people that don't like me.
I felt indifferent. Because when someone's like on and off, like I'm not gonna hate that person because eventually first you hate the ex. I made those jokes like even on my podcast with Francesca how like it's really awkward because you talk shit about this guy like the whole year, you know, oh I hate him, and then you have to meet him and you have to be like, hey, I heard so much about you, like it's so nice to finally meet you, such a fan, you know? Yeah,
I know Frankie was getting like worried as well because she's like, oh, your friends hate me. I was like, you're at the other side of the restaurant. No, like they're on the tables, like they're drunk. I was like, no one cares. Oh, she's like, should I go talk to them? I was like, yeah, come over. And everyone hugged her. She was just paranoid. I was like, no, none of my friends care about any of this stuff. They're just gonna be there when I cry myself to sleep.
Okay.
How about this situation?
Okay, so aside from Mexico, which we'll get into, if people wanted to get to know you, what's something that most people don't know about you?
I have 4 half sisters and a brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't really like any of them. Apart from one, she just had a baby, which is so exciting.
You don't really like your siblings?
Nah, not really. Like I grew up in like a very disjointed family.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like it wasn't like my 4 half sisters. My dad is like a serial husband, so he's had a couple of wives. So he had them, and then he had me and my brother, and then like as soon as we were like 14 or something, we went straight to boarding school.
Oh.
So my family's like all like scattered everywhere. But then obviously when the show came out, everyone wanted to be close again. It was crazy. So bizarre. I was like, the timing this is perfect. I haven't seen you guys in forever. But yeah, I don't know. I've got quite a big family. I grew up in rural Australia. So like right on where all the cows and stuff. It was the beef capital of Australia.
Wait, so are you close with your mom?
Yeah. She's like my reason. That's why I always say it. Like I just
what does that mean?
Like I do everything for her.
But your dad, you guys are not that close?
No, not really. Yeah. I grew up, like, I love my dad and I know he's like trying to be better, but we just grew up with him just being crazy alcoholic. And then just like real recently when I was actually filming the show, some really like bad stuff happened to the point where my family got like completely split up. My parents got divorced and like he disappeared and went on like this crazy like hiatus and then come back, and it was just wild. But I know, like, regardless of anything, like, that's my old man and I still love him. So
wait, your parents got divorced recently?
Yeah. Oh, like, we filmed the show like 2 or 3 years ago, I think.
And that's when they got divorced?
Yeah, like right as I was on the show. So I was like freaking out. I was like, fuck, like I want to just make sure my old lady's okay and like check in on my mom because I know she's like going through it. But yeah, it was really difficult because like while we're filming the show, like have all these emotions like falling in love and like all this chaos and craziness going on. And then like, I wonder if I'll see this person again, but then also like freaking out and worrying about my dad being like really sick and my mom, like her mental health being okay. I was like, this is a bad place, but we got through it and we were thriving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growing up with your parents, did they ever fight in front of you guys or?
Yeah. My dad used to beat my mom.
Okay.
But I grew up like in that situation where, you know, like there was a lot of like serious, like heavy fights and stuff that would go on. But I don't know, it's just kind of how things were when we were brought up. So I think that's why I'm so like drawn to like taking care of my mom, because I know she really went through it to like make sure that me and my brother had a good life, and that that she held the marriage together till we were like of age to like take care of ourselves.
Do you feel like growing up with your parents and how they were, that kind of that's where you learn what love is?
No, you can't say that. I know you tried to say that on the phone the other day. We're like, oh, you showed love. No,
I'm asking.
Nah, not at all.
Or did it show you everything you don't want to be like?
Yeah, it showed me like seeing that type of damage mentally, and seeing how hard my family was trying like to keep their shit together and like keep the family together and tight. Just having like alcohol being the main component that just like tore everything apart and got people like violent and aggressive. Like it really showed me like the person that I don't want to be. Like when I moved to LA, like I started drinking heaps. I was like going out and I wasn't becoming myself. Like that's why I took like 141 days like sober at the start of the year until my birthday. That was the only time I've drank. And I was like, damn, like I really don't enjoy drinking. Like it really like actually like makes me feel like a little bit of trauma and like worried about stuff. Like I always get anxiety and I'm always like scared that I'll end up being like my dad if I keep drinking or whatever. So that's kind of like why I don't really enjoy it.
Are you scared that you have any similar characteristics to your father? Or like, do you ever get scared that you guys have anything in common?
Nah, I think my dad's got many like really, really good characteristics. Like he's, again, like my biggest idol when it comes to like business, and his mind in that sense, and how hard he hustled to get to where he is, but getting belligerently drunk and like beating the fuck out of my mom. Seeing that shit like makes me be like ultra sensitive to stuff like that. Like whenever I've been in like an argument with like any past relationship, like I always make sure that I take time to like make it seem like as least threatening as possible and like calm, and in a situation where I'm not raising my voice, because that's the last thing I'd ever want to do is like make someone feel like threatened or like hurt by my actions or anything like that, especially being a woman. That shit would fucking tear me apart.
How come you're not close with your siblings if you guys went through something like that together?
So my sisters kind of grew up before me, so I'm the baby of their family, and they dealt with it with their mum, and they went through it, and it was kind of just like their mum, and then my mum was like separate. We'd always like see each other and stuff, but they were adults by the time we were like kind of growing up, and they'd always like take care of us. Like they were great people, really good people, but just different interests. But me and my brother are just not close in the slightest. Like me and him, just again like different people. Like, but we grew up, and I was like the bad kid at school. Like I was always the one that was like getting kicked out of schools, or kicked out of all the schools in Australia. I had to go to school in a different country because I was that bad. And then my brother was like amazing grades, always was doing like in the musicals, like in like the football team, like doing like really good things. And then like I guess we just kind of like switched over when we both went to university. Like I realized like my goals and who I didn't want to be, and then he just kind of like got caught up in the party life.
Got it. That's really interesting. I feel like you should talk more about your family life.
It's bizarre because like I guess people always forget that like I'm a human and I've got like past and like actual like real shit happens, because I guess like being like in the influencer space as well, everyone's like, oh my god, they've got it so good, like all this privilege and whatnot. And I've definitely had a very like blessed life, but also like dealing with serious like alcoholism, watching my parents like go at it, and growing up in like that environment where it's like,
yeah,
like at one moment you're like asleep, the next moment you're getting like dragged out of your bed and like yelled at, or like seeing your dad hit your brother in the head with a log or something like that. Like just the most bizarre stuff. And then your brother and your dad having like a fist fight, and then like mom hitting dad in the head with a pan or some shit like that. Like it's crazy, but people have it way worse. I'm not like, it's not like a pity me.
I would say that's pretty traumatic. Like that's pretty crazy.
It builds character.
I know. I feel like you're making a lot of jokes. You should probably figure that out.
This is how I deal with it.
I know, but I mean, I have a friend that he went through that with, and I interviewed him on this podcast before too. And his father was alcoholic, and his dad will constantly like beat the shit out of him and beat his mom. And he said, like, by the time I'm 18, like, I'm gonna leave this house and I will never speak to my father again. You know, I guess people just it was that's what's interesting. You were talking about your father, that you still respect him and like his business stuff. So,
well, it got to a point where when I was at university. And we found out he had cirrhosis of the liver, so he was like dying. So like, okay, like he's taking like painkillers, and he's like drinking like too much at the point where his like body's starting to collapse. His like blood pressure's gone like crazy high. And I remember being there, and one of the guys that I was working at this little like alcohol store, and one of the older guys, I call him Uncle Buff because I'd always ask him about things. I was like, man, like I was like, fuck this piece of shit human. Like, he's tearing my family apart. Like, my brother's resenting him. Like, my mom's unhappy. Like, I was getting so mad. I was like, I'm going to go up there. I'm going to beat the fuck out of him. And he's like, man, you have to understand, like, you have to take a step away and realize that that's always going to be your dad. And no matter, like, the stuff that he says to you, or, like, how he manipulates you, or, like, attacks you, or anything like that, you have to, like, separate that from, like, the person that you knew, like, growing up, or, like, the person that showed you love. And, like, understand that, like, that's your old man. You only get one of them. And sometimes you just have to look past like all that bullshit, which has been difficult. But then again, like I realized that, you know, I could sit here and resent him, and then one day he won't be here, and I'll be like, you know what, fuck, I really wish I had like one last chat with my dad, or and just gave him a hug, or realize that, like, you know, it's maybe it's not really him going on in there. Maybe he's like got brain damage from like the amount of alcohol or whatever's going on. But I don't know. I just look back and I'm like, fuck, like driving after like football training, like getting a meat pie, and like hanging out with my dad, and like building sheds, and like learning to chop down trees, like shit like that. Like that's good memories. And that's kind of just what I focus on for that stuff. But yeah, I don't think my brother or my sisters don't really talk to him. Actually, my brother does, because they're suing my mom. But my sister doesn't talk to him whatsoever.
Right. Well, everyone I think has different memories of growing up. Like my sister and I have completely different memories of my dad. Like I, quote unquote, has daddy issues. My sister doesn't. So we completely have different.
That was actually hilarious, because Garrett and one of my friends, Zach, when we were in Tulum, was like, that girl's definitely got daddy issues. And I was like, oh, you know this daddy issues girl? I was like, no. She's like, I got a feeling she got daddy issues. And I thought they were making a joke until we like got back to the villa. And they're just like, she's definitely got daddy issues. I was like, no way. Yeah.
Well, my dad and I, we didn't say I love you or hugged. Like he never touched me in a hugging way.
You could have worded that so much better.
My dad and I never hugged. We never kissed or anything. And he didn't say I love you until I was like 24. And it was only because one day I made that decision when I created daddy issues. Something in my brain. Because I remember when I was young, one time I saw one of my friends like hug her dad. She asked her dad for advice and she hugged him. And then she's like, thanks, Dad, I love you. And he walked away, and I was looking at her like mortified. And I was like, you're kidding. She goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, do you guys do this all the time? And she's like, what do you mean? Yeah. And I was like, you just like hug him like for no reason? She's like, yeah. And she's like, do you not hug your dad? I was like, I mean, like, what if I hug him and he's like, ew, what are you doing?
What? So you never hugged your dad?
Not until I was like 24.
Why?
Because we just didn't have that relationship. My dad had a father who was an alcoholic, was cheating on his mom all the time. And then he got beat up to death for being a Jew in Russia when my dad was 17. He had the whole family go completely broke because he was an alcoholic too. So they were like so poor, so broke in Russia. And like my dad swore to never be like his dad. So the way he would show me love was financially, like to take care of me, to make sure I go to school, so I have food on the table.
Oh, damn.
But like he didn't grow up with that type of like physical love, and that's the type of love that I needed. So he was showing me love differently. I needed a different type of love. So we had a disconnect. But one day when I created daddy issues, I was just like, you know what? Like I realized like what you were saying is that I'm not going to be resentful about the fact that I just didn't have that relationship growing up with my father. Cause I was like, he didn't know any better. Like he didn't grow up with that type of love. And I was like, what if tomorrow he's gone? So I love him and I want him to know I love him. So I'm going to start hugging him and I'm going to start telling him that I love him. And I don't care if he says it back because I know he feels it. So I started saying, I love you. And like, because of that, I changed the dynamic of my family like completely. Like we all hug each other all the time now. We always say I love you, and it's all because like I made that decision.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great. That must have been a powerful moment though, like when you finally did that.
It was because now it feels like so easy,
Yeah.
you know, to get off the phone with my dad and to say I love you and things like that. Obviously, I never bring up the past because I know my dad feels guilty but like I understand he just had a different way of showing love. So that's why I can't compare it to your situation of having an alcoholic parent, because that part is hard, because the person, when they're on alcohol or drugs, like their number one love is the alcohol, the drugs. So that is completely like different, and I can't relate. But I think it is very sweet and nice that you do try to remember your father in such a positive light.
Well, I just also like look at it as like it's a disease, right? So like alcoholism and like having that addiction is a disease, and they can't, like he genuinely can't help it. Like we sent him to rehab twice. The first time he escaped, that was like crazy how it was seeing. I remember one day when he came down to see me before he went in, and he was like all mopey, like dragging his feet and like very slow and like yelling at people like on the street. And I was like, damn, what the fuck is going on with you? Like, this is not my old man. Like, you're like a zombie. What the fuck's going on in there? And then we took him to rehab, and obviously it's hell. Like, you're coming off absolutely everything. Like, you know, all the painkillers, everything he was coming off. And then he was doing so well. And then it like got to one point where one of my sisters come over, and he's like, oh, can I get a Panadol, which is like a ibuprofen? And it just like triggered all the tests at the rehab. And it just like, yeah, you can't stay here anymore. Like you went, because apparently like there was like a component in that. And then he went home, and he's like, he made everyone believe like he was fine, all this stuff. And then we like would walk out into the barn, like where all the hay is, and he'd just be like passed out. It'd be like 9 a.m. and he'd have like a bottle of vodka. And I was like, okay, well, he's not safe. But then we sent him back again, and he didn't even make it out of the hospital. Like he made a friend with someone there in hospital, and then he just escaped and went to the beach and got drunk for like a week.
Well, I'm really happy for your mom that she eventually finally left him.
Yeah, she deserves it. She deserves all the happiness in the world. Like I'm trying to send her to Italy and just get her like a young Italian stud that would just blow her back out. Like that's what I really want.
Blow her back out.
Yeah, like I want her to have like an Italian stallion that's just gonna really just fuck her shit up.
Okay, you guys are that close.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yo, man, don't forget to blow my mom's back out.
Legit, I asked all my friends, I was like, would you fuck my mom? Like, you remember Jacob? He was living at my farmhouse. I was like, bro, like if you need to, like just take care of business. Like I was like, mom needs it more than you.
Oh, that is so funny.
Make her feel alive. But yeah, she's amazing. She just did a little horse show, and she won a whole bunch of ribbons with her horses. So that was really cool.
That's really sweet. I feel so much closer to you after this conversation.
Oh, I'm waiting till we get to the juicy shit. You start roasting me.
Let's start talking about dating and relationships and things like that.
My favorite topic.
So do you believe in soulmates?
Yes.
You do? Do you believe in just one, or there's a few?
I feel like you can definitely have a few, for sure. Like I feel like that to pigeonhole. I just also like I see that like you can definitely have one love and a relationship and be like, this is my soulmate forever, and be completely content, but then realize that maybe you're not that person's soulmate. I don't know. I feel like you can definitely have more than one. I don't know where I was going with that, but
no, but I know what you mean. I agree. I believe that like your soulmates can also be like your family members and your friends. And I actually came up with that one time when I was friends with these 3 kids, and their mother passed away from cancer. And to make them feel better, I told them that, you know, I believe that your family members and your friends and loved ones can be your soulmates. So it means like you're going to see your mom again the next lifetime because it's one of your soulmates. So she's not, you know, because to make them feel better. And then I started to believe that too. So I believe that like, even if it like you're dating somebody and let's say you just feel like some attachment to that person, you're like, you know, when I was getting over my last relationship, I was like, maybe in the next lifetime we're going to be together. It's meant to work on the next lifetime, just not in this one.
To Frankie on my little goodbye note when we first broke up, I wrote her a letter.
Yeah.
I was like, if it's not in this lifetime, I know it'll be in the next for sure.
That's really sweet. You are really charming. Do not do that to me. I am Team Francesca.
I even have like a saved in my phone of the note that I sent her. It was like handwritten, and it took me 3 times to send it to her.
And she like burned
First
it.
time we broke up, yeah. She probably did. Yeah, it has like my hair, like did like a full ritual, like take the devil back.
Do you believe Francesca is one of your soulmates?
Yeah. I genuinely think that like when I met her, everything kind of made sense. The reason why I say like I feel like she is because like the whole past year, and I was explaining this to her, and she said the same, but I'm not sure if it was true. Maybe she was just trying to be like, okay, Harry, shut up. But whenever something big or bad would happen with us for a week, I would feel it in my stomach. And then the day that something bad was about to happen, or the day that I knew that something was going to happen with her, I would just I would feel so sick. And I'm like, damn, how am I so connected to this human? And I'm not even talking to her. Like for a whole week, one of my episodes with Shan Booty, it was like super early on. I was telling her, I was like, damn, like, I don't know what's going on. Like I can feel something's going on with Francesca. And the day I dropped that episode, some shit went down. I don't know, some like legit drama went down with her and one of her old friends. I don't want to get into it, but that shit got down. And then I was like a little bit involved, and I was like, okay, well now I know like that I'm connected to this person. And then
wait. You felt so connected to her, and then you went on you defended the friend who was talking shit about Francesca.
Okay, well, I was also angry at her.
So yeah, that's really sweet. You felt a gut in your stomach that something bad was going to happen for Francesca, and then something bad did happen. And because she's your soulmate and you felt it, you still went on defending the other person that was going off against her. But you're like, but babe, it doesn't matter, because privately, I was thinking about you privately.
That wasn't from the recent shit, but it's like, what I was getting at
you were still mad.
Yeah, well, I was still very pissed. Like the situation was very like sticky, but what I was getting at is like when there's stuff that happens with her, like when there's like a big milestone, or like the day, when it was a year anniversary of the show, like I felt it for like a week, and then I'm like, damn, maybe something's going. And then for that whole week, it was like I'd wake up and the first thought would be like, is Francesca okay? Like what's going on with Francesca? And that was in my head. And I was like, okay, well, maybe like I'm just way too in tune with this human, and maybe she is my soulmate. I don't know, but that was kind of my justification on it.
What would you say some of your fears are that you have when it comes to relationships or during dating?
Being cheated on, lack of communication, and someone that is not willing to change.
Those are your fears.
Yeah.
So what would you do if you were dating somebody that had some of those things?
I'd try and help like in a constructive way to move in a better direction.
Yeah, like some of my fears are I like hate getting too close to people, so I tend to like not start drama, but like I'll end it. Like I'll self-sabotage, or I'll end it with somebody right away before like they'll end it with me.
Really? That's so sad.
That is really sad.
I used to do that, but then I'm like, ugh, come on.
I hate that. It's a bad habit, and sometimes I think I'm not doing it.
Did someone like really fuck your shit up? Is that what happened?
One time I got in an argument with my sister, and I did the same thing. You know what? I'm done. Don't speak to me. My sister's like, V, you have to communicate, because I won't communicate. I just like don't want to talk about it, and then I just need space. And she's like, who hurt you? What happened?
Did someone seriously? Because that's what I was thinking when we went to Tulum. I was like, someone is like come in and like fucked her like sister or something and like broke her heart. Like, is that what happened?
With me? Yeah. Okay, what is happening with you and your friends that you all think?
We're trying to figure you out.
I thought it was so nice to you and your friends.
No, you were great.
Let's talk about Mexico. Is there anything that you regret from that trip except thinking that I have daddy issues and that I am been through something or whatever? Is there something you regret from that trip?
I regret not spending more time with Francesca and going in a different way. Why are you looking all weird?
Because it's sweet.
Sorry, should I be mean? Should I be like,
no, I
wish
that.
not fucking 100 bitches and going crazy.
Okay, you regret that. Is there anything that you regret that happened after Mexico?
Yes, I do regret it. There's a lot of things I regret after Mexico.
Like what?
There's just some TikToks and some things that happened that I didn't register in my head that would hurt someone, and so yeah, I regret those. Put it in. Let's go. Let's see how I answer it. I want to see how good I am.
You fucked half of the girls in Los Angeles. Olivia, my other friends, to name a few. Is Tana one of them?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah. Have you ever had sex with Tana?
I've never done anything with Tana.
Why do you guys insinuate like you have? Is it for clout and like views?
Okay, the craziest thing is what we've realized is that like people like love to speculate. I think that's why it's so funny. Is like every time you'll see if you post with another dude, you post with another chick, like people are like, oh my god, they're fucking like doing this and that. Me and Tana have like such a similar like chaotic and crazy like personality that like we'll just like film videos together and people just can't like put a label on it, so they don't understand it and they just speculate. So I think it's just more so it's just like a funny thing, because like I enjoy like hanging out with her because she's like got my back and she's like a good human.
I don't know her, so I can't judge. I'm not judging. I literally don't know her.
She's crazy online, but in person, like she's all business and she's a very smart person. So when we just started filming TikToks, like it just started running up numbers. So it was just like, okay, well, I'm your friend and I enjoy hanging out with you. And by the way, the whole time that I've been like her best friend or like close to her, she's been sleeping with like guys with like face tattoos and stuff. Like our types are completely different.
Yeah. Okay.
Plus, she tells me when she goes to take a shit. Like that's like the friendship level we're on. Like when you're like, hey, I'm just gonna go do a poo, and I'm like, okay, enjoy. You not like that with any of your friends? You're not comfortable enough with them.
I wasn't raised like that. We're just a little different. Question: why did you let Francesca down again, or do you think she's overreacting?
I feel like that was just such a shit comment to say that I let her down. Like we spoke on the phone about this whole situation, and I've done what I can. Like I feel like I definitely didn't let her down. I feel like.
Do you think she's overreacting?
No, I'm not gonna say that because I know she'll get angry. I personally think that she was upset. I realized that. I acknowledged it. I took a step back. I apologized. I reversed everything I did. What I've come to realize is that we haven't spoken or we haven't really been close in a year. So the situation is like super sensitive, and I should have been a little bit more aware and a little bit more cautious of like what I'm posting or who I'm like hanging out with or what's going on, because I know I should have known that like, damn, it's like she's going to be like upset about it.
Okay, for those who don't understand what he's talking about, because you are being very vague, what is Francesca upset about?
I posted a TikTok with Tana at dinner and she was upset about it.
And then Tana posted some TikTok trashing her.
Well, okay.
Do you understand how it can be a little hard to handle when I'm supposed to be the person you love, but then you allow your friends to attack me publicly? Like, it's embarrassing.
Here's the thing. The situation, I've been doing my best to address it privately and as respectfully as possible, because end of the day, I'm friends with Tana, and me and Francesca at this current moment are friends. Like that's what we're trying to figure out. I love her to bits, and what she's asked me to do, I've done. I've done everything I can. Then obviously I told Tana to delete what was going on, called her, and from my understanding, it was going to be taken down, is what I got told. And then obviously it went a different direction. And I explained to Francesca, I was like, look, we're different people. Yeah. And like, I can't go out here like barking orders and like trying to do things. I understand that it's like Tana's coming at her publicly, and I'm just trying to do my best to make sure that like everyone's happy. And it's like a terrible situation because like I'm the messenger and I'm just getting shot. Like I'm getting shot at.
When we were talking, you and I were talking, you were like, when we got on the phone, because then I tried to be the mediator between you two, and that's not really my thing. And you were like, I had so much fun in Mexico. I was ready to get a ring for her, blah, blah. If that is actually your person, like your person, then as an adult, as a person that really looks at that person like, oh, that's going to be my soulmate, or I'm going to be with this person potentially for the rest of my life, like that means you have to put them first. And yeah, even if you love your friends, if your friends really had your best interest, they wouldn't try to get in between your relationship. If I was your friend, like why would I try to sabotage your relationship? So to me, it seems a little odd. Again, I don't know Tana, and I have nothing bad to say about her because again, not my fight at all. But as somebody looking from the outside, it does feel a little odd because at what point do you say, you know what, I'm not going to go for the clout stuff because I actually do love this person. I want to make them happy. And if you see the person that you love is in pain from it, like is embarrassed, is in pain, is continuously asking you, just don't embarrass me publicly, and then you still allow something like that, how can you continue to being friends with that person?
I think that it's silly and naive to say that, okay, I'm doing nothing about it, and just because I'm not posting an Instagram story saying, Tana, you're a bad person, take it down. I don't think that that is a constructive way to go about it. The whole time that me and Francesca broke up, everything was public. We were attacking each other public. She would drop a comment here. I'd react and drop a comment there. She'd react to me dropping a comment. And it would just like build and build and build to a point where it was like completely toxic and disgusting. And that's why everyone's like, oh my God, our favorite toxic couple's back. Like, and that's what we're known at, because we didn't know how to deal with this situation. And every time we deal with it, it would be in the public light. What I found is when other people's opinions and when other people get involved and put their time and energy into something, it gets foggy, it gets wrong, and it gets ugly, right? End of the day, I only care what Francesca, and this is what I said on the phone, I only care about what Francesca thinks and how she feels. I don't want to post on my story, get my fan pages involved, or like go and like, okay, you need to go attack this person now, because it's not about that. This is a real life situation where I really fucking care about this person, and I really want her to understand that like, okay, I'm not doing it for my Instagram. I'm not doing it for TikTok. I'm not doing it for views or anything like that. Like I realized I made a mistake by posting that TikTok with Francesca. I mean, with Tana. I understood that. I was like, okay, I reversed it right away. Yeah. The reason why the breakup was so bad before is because it was all public and disgusting. And that's what I'm trying to not do at the moment. I really love and care for her. And when our relationship was the happiest is when it was private. And that's what I realized. This whole last year, all I've had is time to reflect on how to be better and how to be a better boyfriend, how to be a better guy, and how to be a better man for her. That's all I've done like this past year is like, okay, how can I move in situations where it's gonna be beneficial and make her life better? Like that's when I'm with someone, that's my entire goal. Like that's my purpose. So when this stuff started to happen, I'm like, okay, well, the biggest mistake I made last time was getting involved and in a public light and making this ugly. I don't want to do that. And if there's a way that I can resolve it offline and privately with my friends or people that I call my friends, then that's what I want to do. So that's the way I've been going about it. And I personally don't think that it's that big of a deal that I need to be like, call out Tana or call out Francesca and say, these are your wrongdoings. Because no one's perfect. Like I'm still just trying to figure it out. I'm just want to make her life happy and like make it good. But I just personally don't think that me getting in the middle of it when I'm already fighting a fire like offline is gonna benefit it. Like if I put up my story and like maybe do a post about it or do a YouTube video, do a podcast about it. I'm kind of doing it now, but I just feel like it's just gonna get like people's like public opinion and it doesn't go anywhere.
But you said I made the mistake of making things public and it should have been private next time. Then why did you do the whole thing? Like when you and Francesca started talking again, like why did you make it so public instead of trying to do it privately first to figure out like how you guys feel about each other?
When I was talking to her or when I went to Cancun to see her, I didn't post a single story. No one knew that I was going to be there. My friends didn't know until the morning of. I was like, yeah, I'm going to Cancun to see Frankie because I didn't want anyone to know. I wanted to be completely top secret. I was on the plane. I had a hoodie on. I had a mask on. I didn't want anyone to know that I was going. So by the time I got to Cancun, it was like, okay, I'm back with my best friend. We were staying in a hotel like away from her friends and we were just trying to figure out our shit. The reason why it got public was because there was a fucking paparazzi outside the restaurant they were waiting at. They were hiding in a bush and I didn't know where we were going. And we pulled up to this restaurant. We were waiting outside, waiting in line because we're normal people. And this paparazzi like got us. Yeah. And then that Monday, TMZ like, it got released and stuff like that. Well, I don't know if it was Monday or it was later on in the week. And already that next week, I was going back to Mexico for my birthday when I was going to meet you guys. So I asked Francesca, I was like, well, it's kind of public now that we're like hanging out. And like I, joked about it in my podcast, like coming back. We're already taking photos and stuff for like memory's sake. And end of the day, like I would rather the world know that like I'm trying my absolute best for this person again than like try and like have people think that my DMs are open or that people think that they can come like try and like talk to me and stuff. When I was with when I'm with Francesca, like I'm so about this person, like this is everything. And that's why when it comes like to Tulum and my birthday and I posted a photo, I was like, cause like I really just, no one really matters. Like no one else really matters. So like any girls that have been in my DMs or thought about it just won't go in now because they think like, okay, he's like completely off the market. So that's like half the reason why I did it. Because I'm like, I also want Francesca to be like, okay, Harry's serious, like he's posting me. Yeah. And he doesn't give a fuck about other girls or like Instagram models or whoever.